It was a big year for the gays, and we can't do a show around here without talking about the gays. Of course, Prop 8 was struck down. Gay marriage just in the last couple of weeks passed in, judicially, has been passed now in Ohio and in Utah. But of course, not everything was perfect because Duck Dynasty, yeah. Phil Robertson, the granddad, I guess, of the Ducks. Well, take a look.
You actually become a fool. You know what you do? You suppress the truth about God by your wickedness. And you know what happens? His wrath is poured upon you. Don't believe it? First they say there is no God. Get him out of your mind. Then they bow down to birds, animals, and reptiles, and to each other. And the first thing you see coming out of them is gross sexual immorality. They will dishonor their bodies with one another, degrade each other. Is that going on in the United States of America?
Is that going on? Yes, actually, Phil, it is. This is a free country. We're allowed to do with our bodies what we so please. Okay, so as you all know, A&E, let me just real quick, A&E suspended him, of course. Everyone went nuts. He got reinstated. It had nothing to do with the First Amendment. That is the point, because everyone kept saying First Amendment. I was watching Greta Van Susteren on Fox News going on and on with Rick Santorum that the First Amendment is under attack. Steve, can you explain why it wasn't a First Amendment issue?
You're a lawyer.
Please, you're a lawyer.
The First Amendment proscribes the government, not a private entity, from preventing speech. And there are, time, place, and manner restrictions. So for example, at TYT, I could pass a rule that says if you say the word hamburger, you're fired. That's not an infringement of free speech.
Right.
I could pass a rule that says, you know what? If you vote Democrat, you're fired. Actually, that might be a problem. Okay. But if I say the new rule, if you sing, you're fired. Whatever it may be, that's not a violation of your freedom of speech. It's not. It's only when the government comes into play.
So I don't want to get too hung up on the free speech issue, but isn't this exactly what happened? Him being suspended at first, them making some sort of we're a pro-LGBT company, so we're going to suspend you. Then the market dictated that he came back because they realized they were going to lose a lot of money. Isn't this exactly how it should have worked?
I guess that's how
I'm not defending the guy, obviously.
No, I just think it's funny that he said they degrade each other with their sex. And they degrade each other. Is there anything more degrading than that beard? Are you kidding me? Look at the way you dress. Do you really value yourself? I don't think so. When was the last time he was to a dentist? I think if he really valued himself, he wouldn't be worried about where other people are sticking their penises, and maybe he would get cleaned up and put on a nice jacket. That's all I'm saying.
Jimmy Dore.
Okay, so
I like your jacket, Jimmy.
Thank you very much.
Very nice, and thank you. We're all cleanly shaved today. Very nice.
Thank you very much. It is a pretty badass jacket, and so that's what I said. People said to me, "Well, why should I'm tired if someone says something and they automatically get fired." Somebody said this to me, and I'm like, "Well, first of all, you have to take them on a case-by-case basis, right?" So I think what Paula Deen did was much less worse than what Donald Trump did, yet Donald Trump still gets to keep his show on NBC. So I think you have to go case by case. And what I'm saying about this Duck Dynasty guy is that if you work at A&E, if you're a producer or a senior producer or a marketing guy, how do you not work for that show?
Precisely.
How do you promote that guy who is promoting hatred against gays with a Y?
Yeah. So, but isn't this how the system should work? The market dictated what happened.
I totally agree with you, Dave. I think this is exactly how it worked out. So A&E, if I'm A&E, if I'm an executive there, I would think, well, this guy said very hateful things. So this might hurt our brand. This might hurt the bottom dollar. So I'm going to suspend him, and we'll figure out what we should do. And then there's a huge backlash, and people are like, no, we want this guy. I'm like, okay, he's back on the air, okay?
Right, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, and look, and that's what corporations are supposed to do. They need to maximize profits, and if you don't do it, guess what happens? You get fired.
Right.
So recently, the CEO of Hyundai Motors, he got replaced. Even though he did a great job for like 3.5 years, the last 6 months, not so great, gone. Okay, that's what happens in any private corporation. With respect to this particular guy, so a lot of people are very offended by his comments, and I find his comments hideous. Actually, the part that was the worst, we didn't even play.
Right, that wasn't even. Yeah. I was just throwing an extra sign because we've seen all the other.
Yeah, because the part where he talks about like, what are you going to do, Pennsylvania? It's kind of scary stuff, and he's holding that weird, like, torture-like stuff in his left hand. It's all creepy, and I mean, I think as far as like anti-gay commentary and inciting violence against gays, this is as bad as it gets that I've ever personally seen. All that being said, if he has a show, Duck Dynasty on A&E, and he's not saying those things on air, I don't like it. I don't watch the show, but I don't feel this need to go on a crusade to get it off the air. If people,
100%. I've never, in any of these things, Alec Baldwin or Paula Deen, I've never advocated for any of them to be fired because they can say stupid shit and then we can make fun of them for it. That's what America's all about.
By the same token, if they do get fired, then it's not like a violation of free speech.
They're not going to jail.
Yeah, I mean, people can fire people all the time for. It's just a calculus that you make as a TV executive.
Can I just make two really quick? I don't understand why religious, because everybody came out and defended Duck Dynasty guy based on he's just religious. It's religion. It's his religion. What about freedom of religion? It's religion to hate other people and to preach incendiary, hateful things against other people. That's what Jesus did.
Right.
So that's what they keep saying.
The love of religion is always couched in hatred.
It's always, so you can use religion, of course, we know this, they use religion to justify slavery. They use religion to justify every war there ever was. So they use religion now to justify hating gays, right? And persecuting gays and marginalizing them and keeping them from getting equal rights. Why is it that if you're religious, you get a pass for being an ignorant, backward motherfucker? Why do religious, he's the bishop, he's a religious, so he hates gays, so that's okay, but let's have him over for dinner. No, fuck you. You're ignorant, that's backward thinking, and it's not okay to say it's your religion. Then isn't that what the KKK could say? It's just my religion. This is what Jesus, they think they're all Christian too. So, and my other thing was when Alec Baldwin, he's called the guy a cocksucking faggot, and he said that he called him a cocksucking fathead. Right, because he thought the faggot part was the bad part. But of course he said, because no one says that cocksucking and then nobody says, you motherfucking fart snarkle. You keep it consistent with the dirtiness of the words. Okay.
And that's going to make another point too. Look, I never watched Duck Dynasty. I don't know if it's a good show or a bad show. Now, if you are a fan of the show, that's fine. I mean, you can like the show, but you don't have to like everything about that guy. And once you find out that the guy is hateful in many ways, there's no need to worship him. There's no need to run to his defense to have these opinions. I mean, I just don't, that's the part that I don't get. These fanatics who are so angry that people are upset by his comments. They're very upsetting comments. Of course you should be upset. Like O.J. Simpson, I used to be a big fan of him until we found out he probably most likely murdered, brutally murdered 2 people. Then I'm not as much of a fan anymore.
But is part of that, though, that we have these groups, these advocacy groups, like in this case, GLAAD and the HRC, that they have to do it? Like, what if they don't jump on it? Then what are they in business for, right?
No. Well, I think they should. I'm talking about the fans of the show. I'm talking about the fans of the show who are so angry that people are upset by Phil Robertson's comments. I'm like, why are you angry about that? You should be angry. You should be upset by those comments too. I mean, so I love sports, and I love the show Modern Family. If I found out that the guy who plays Phil Dunphy, Ty Burrell, let's say I found out he's a horrible misogynist and talks about raping bitches all the time, I would have a real problem. I wouldn't say, well, I love Ty Burrell, I love the show, therefore everything he says, I'm okay with that too. I want people to separate the show and the actor and all of that from what they do in their private life, and if it's bad, you can not like that person. It's not a big deal.
I can still enjoy Annie Hall, even though I find Woody Allen personally to be reprehensible. I can still enjoy
too Jewish.
He's
a little too Jewish.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Also married his daughter.
What?
Yeah.
What did he do?
You didn't know that?
I didn't hear that.
Also, he married his daughter.
Mel Gibson didn't say anything about that.
Last thing on this, what do you make of the persecuted majority we have in the country? That immediately these people all think that they're the ones being persecuted. And it's like, you know what? No, gay people are actually the ones that don't have equal rights. If you're a Christian in this country, of course you have equal rights. There's nothing you're denied as a Christian, but there is
That's not true, Dave. There's a war on Christmas, and Christians are persecuted. at every turn. The atheists and the gays and the Jews, they have all the power.
All the power.
Yeah.
All the power.
I went out. I tried to buy my wife a Christmas present. The stores were all closed.
So there is a war on
There is this
Christmas.
war on Christmas. I want to buy a Christmas present. Like, no, you can buy this, but not for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's what they told me. It was really weird.
But really, what do you think about the idea that immediately they think they're the ones persecuted?
Well, that's
it's a great psychological
it's the oldest
right?
trick in the book, right?
Yeah.
So that if you watch Fox News and they're always the victims, right? And it's just funny that the dominant culture sees themselves as a victim somehow to the minority culture, which is the way they've been playing it out. And it's good because it riles up people who don't think deeply, and they gets them to hate people they need to hate so they can push their agenda forward.
I just want to say one
Bring
thing.
us home, Steve.
If you ever hear someone use the word wickedness, disregard everything that person says. That
Yes.
person's a clown. Who says the word wickedness?
Right. And let me can I say two things?
You got it.
That Duck Dynasty guy is fighting same-sex attraction. There's no doubt about
Yeah?
it. There's no doubt
That's
about
the one
it.
thing that people haven't been saying about him,
David,
but yeah.
there's no doubt about that
gotta
guy's
be.
fight. Because I'm telling you, if there's anything I know for sure, is that straight guys don't give a fuck about what gay guys do with their penises. They don't give a shit. It's only the guys who think they might like it that makes them uncomfortable that they have to go, I don't want you to be able to do that, and I think you're a horrible person. And by the way, if you read up about Duck Dynasty guy, he was a Mr. Crazy drug addict fuckface in the 60s and 70s. So he was the exact thing he's railing against, and that's always how it is.
He was born again, man.
The silent sinners always scream the loudest. So whenever I see somebody publicly moralizing, I know that guy is doing something with his penis that he feels bad about.